Hey, Will King here, High Cotton Homes in Florence, Alabama. Today on the Build Show, we're talking about a multi-room audio system that you can use as a builder to bring into your builds that won't break the budget, but still will deliver an absolute killer audio system for your client. So let's get into it. All right, guys, so first off, I want to tell you that this is not a sponsored video by Sonos. So this is just a system that was brought to me a few years ago that we've been a big fan of and we've incorporated into a lot of our builds. So you guys have probably all been involved in some type of audio project in a house. So a few years back, I built this cool audio system at my house. Spent all this time and money and effort, weeks of effort actually, with a big, huge receiver in my living room. There was wires everywhere, big ugly speakers hanging from brackets all over my house. And I was so proud to get it done. And then my wife wasn't too impressed, to be honest. And not only was she not impressed, it was actually very difficult to use and incorporate in with just the everyday watching TV thing. So fast forward a few years, in comes Sonos Audio for us. And so I guess what is it? To start with, it is a multi-room audio system. Now, the first thing that stands out to me about Sonos is that it's not Bluetooth and it's not wired. So it literally just works off your network. So it can either be by Wi-Fi or you can actually hardwire with an Ethernet cord into certain speakers from Sonos. So that's how it gets its signal is obviously wireless technology. Now, the neat part about this is that it can be as simple as one speaker or as complicated as an entire surround sound in your living room with in-ceiling speakers, subwoofer, and the whole package. So that's something that they've done a good job of delivering as options for everybody. So as a builder, you probably have been asked before by clients, you know, how can we get home audio into our house, or how can we get whole home audio everywhere? And you may not be familiar with how to answer that question. You may not even have a relationship with an AV company. But to me, what's great about this system is that you as a builder can self-perform this if you have to. It's not something that you have to go outside of your organization to deliver to a client. And even if it's just pre-wiring for it, you can still plan for the future in what I call future proofing. So, and that's when we get back into a budget issue again. If you're not wanting to commit to buying all the gear now, it's also very easy to just plan ahead and lace wires in the ceiling or make sure you have power plugs in certain locations. So to start with, let's just look at what we have here. So this is a Sonos One. This is probably their most common speaker. We have several of these just around our office space, and I have a couple of them at my house too. But what's neat is that not only can it be a standalone speaker and be powerful enough to fill up the whole room, it can also be paired with another Sonos One speaker to give you a nice stereo sound, or it can even be paired again with a sound bar and subwoofer to give you a really nice full surround system. And that's actually what we have here in this house, is actually a rear left and a rear right channel on our surround sound here in the living room. So super neat. Now this one's white. It also comes in black. So you know, whatever style your client's looking for, obviously you can make that decision. This right here in front of me is a Sonos amp. And now I think this is an older version, but we've had this here working for about 3 years at this house. And what's great about these is they can be located pretty much anywhere. So they make some really nice wall brackets that hang on the wall behind your TV. You can actually take Velcro and stick it to the back of your TV. Or if you're planning for an AV rack and you have maybe cameras in your house or network gear, you can run the speaker wire back to your rack. So this is basically the amplifier. This is where your speaker wire will start. From here it goes out, and you can run 2 pairs of speakers off of this. Now we use them often in back porch settings, bathroom settings, or even kitchen and living room, depending on how far the client wants to go. But it's also pretty easy to just pre-wire like I mentioned, and that way down the road, if the client wants to come back and buy the gear, they literally just have to buy the amp and buy the speakers and cut them in, and the wiring is already there for them. So that's a really popular product that we use, and we've really enjoyed having them. And then this little guy here, this is a relatively new speaker from Sonos. It's actually called the Sonos Roam. It's been a great product for us. It actually came from my house. My daughter likes walking around with this and practicing her dance routines, but What's neat is that it's Wi-Fi and or Bluetooth, I guess, so Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. So if you take it out of your house, off the charger, you can just swap it over to Bluetooth, and then it's good on the boat, good at the beach. So, but what's neat is that it'll also sync and play with everything else in your house. So that one's one of my favorites right there. Now, this over here in the corner, this is actually the Sonos subwoofer, and honestly, it's probably the most impressive thing that I've used from Sonos. So their subwoofer just takes the whole living room setting to the next level. These things are fantastic. Now this one obviously is white again, but they do come in black. I've got one of each. You can tuck it behind a couch. You can tuck it behind a table. You know, it doesn't have to be out open like this, but it's amazing how heavy these are. But again, going back to my old AV system at home, that ended up just being a complete disaster. The only thing this thing needs is power. So it just hooks to your Wi-Fi, syncs with the rest of your audio system, and then, man, does it deliver a lot of power. That's a really awesome thing there. All right, so over here in the living room, we've got this Sonos Beam soundbar below the TV. Now it's attached to the drywall with a wall bracket. So there's a power supply back there behind it, but also, or just a plug. And then there's an HDMI cable that goes from the Beam through the wall and into the audio return channel HDMI on the back of the TV. So that's what actually puts the TV audio into the Sonos system. And that's important because I'll show you in a minute how you can actually pull up the app and select the TV audio to play in the entire house. So somewhere in your system, you got to have an input from your TV into the Sonos system. And you can do that with the sound bars and or the amps, which is also an easy option for that. But this little guy is super powerful. It really fills the living room up well. So great job by Sonos on that one. So one more thing about the Beam that I think is such an important piece to your, I guess, living room or TV setup is that if we're playing music from our phone like Spotify or Pandora, and then your family comes in and wants to watch TV, when they turn the TV power on, it takes priority over the zone that the Beam is in or the sound bar is in, or even the amp. You can program it to have priority. So the great thing with that is that you don't have to fumble with 4 remotes to figure out how to turn off one thing to turn back on the TV audio. So that's a really neat feature. But I think talking about what I really love about it and how I think that it's an easy sell to a client and what I think just makes so much sense to them is to show them the app and show them actually how it functions. So you can literally play any music you want from Spotify, from Pandora, even AirPlay from your phone. So even if you're watching a home video and you want to play it over the audio, you can literally just AirPlay to the Sonos zone that you want to play it to. But once you start playing it there, what's cool is that you can, inside the app, you can select which group you want. So right now we have the family room, garage, and even the Sonos Roam selected, but we can also select the patio. And so when we do that, that immediately plays that one audio source on all those different zones in your house. So and that's just important because it just makes it easy to sync. And one thing I like is when we're watching ball games and we want to, you know, people are moving around the house and you're entertaining, it's so easy to have the audio from the ball game playing even in the bathroom. So that's just a neat thing to share with a client. But guys, it's a really neat system. I think as a builder, trying to figure out how to bring more low-cost, high-impact items into your build to just take it to the next level, this is definitely one you want to look at. But guys, thanks so much for watching today. Remember, iron sharpens iron, so keep grinding, keep watching these videos, and we'll see you next time right here on The Build Show.